Got a 2013 Ford Mustang. Let me throw this light down here. What's happening? This is P0720 code that's coming up. There's no current codes in the PCM right now. I think I got the switch. Turn the switch off. So let's go back. So there's no current codes now after I cleared the codes. I did take a snapshot before I did all that. Let me see. So there's the freeze frame. So here we go. So it was P0720, P0722, and P0731. Now you always want to tackle the first code first because all of these are going to be follow-up. So if the output speed sensor isn't responding accordingly from the input, it's going to detect the incorrect gear ratio, and that's what we got this last code here. So they have to meet certain expectations based on the computer's algorithm. I'm gonna get on all that because I'm not that bright, but I will say these are just snapshots of the freeze frame that I took because I knew when I cleared the code I wasn't gonna have no more access with it because the Alltel's isn't that great as far as retaining or recording information. So there's no fault codes here. I'm going to do a repair for this, which consists of replacing the lead frame. Got to get you the part number. This is from the dealership that I bought. I went to go purchase this. This was 140-ish, something around about that. 140, still something, not including tax. So got this, and I got 8 quarts of fluid there too from the dealer. So what happens with this code is you don't have to replace the output speed sensor. It's the issue with the internals when it comes to I guess pulling or retrieving information from the sensor. So the connections in here go bad, and let me cut this off. All right, here we go. So this is the lead frame, or either I think the dealership call it the connector. I'll put the actual part number based on the diagram inside the comment section. But from what I understand, this isn't some crazy module or computer inside of here. This is just basically consists of a plastic housing with connections that go from here to their designated locations, such as going to the solenoids. The sliding doohickey is going to be the neutral safety, and it does come with this piece right here. I guess that's what. I have to play around with this, see what it does, but this little sliding piece. But this is my first time doing this repair. I just, based off of my customer symptoms, they were saying that it went into first gear, so it just downshift, jerk in the first gear, or when you pull off, it'll start off in the incorrect gear. Now those are just common symptoms of just the incorrect input. So basically, there's no knowing of the rotational speed from the sensor, whether it's VR or from what I understand, this type of sensor is going to be a Hall, so it has a 5-volt, so it should have a square waveform. So basically, if the sensor, the revolutionary sensor, can't determine the speed, it doesn't have important information, so it's just going to go into like a limping mode. But I'm not going to spend that much time because I think I'm hitting the 5 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Pull the pan, drain the fluid, and getting this in there. So I got one part of it drained out. I want to do the same thing with the fresh pan. Now this gasket is reusable, so you kind of got to be careful not to pierce the gasket or gouge it, however you want to call it. Oh shit. It will fall into the fluid below. Whoops. There we go. So I do have the car like kind of set in the angle so the front end is jacked up. This is going to be the front end of the vehicle. This is the rear. So it's kind of jacked up in the angle there so all the fluid can go. Favor one's corner over another. So this way, when I do get all the fluid out, I don't have a lot of fluid I gotta pull from the pan out. I got one bolt left in there, so fluid's still coming out. I'm gonna make this a lot more simplistic. I mean, it could have been like a Chevy and you gotta remove mounts and everything else and exhaust just to pull this pan out. So I'm gonna move the drain pan now and put the transmission pan at the base here and let the remainder of the fluid collect. Now I have enough surface area where I could drain this fluid from the filter here, and it'll collect in the pan to where it wouldn't make a mess. Scared the shit out of me. All right. The wider ones are the ones you want to take out. So the head of the bolt will be wider, and like these two here, this is more narrow than this wider one. So the larger ones are the one I'm gonna take out. And if they are different sizes, I have a technique I'll utilize to ensure that I put all of them back in the same spot. So I guess we'll find that out shortly. All right, so we're gonna work on getting these bolts out. These are torque. I got a T30 here. Now the T30 only goes into one, so obviously, you know, you can't screw it up if you're taking all the T30s out, and they all got the same size here. So the other one seemingly looks like a T27. The T25 didn't fit that well in there. It fit, but it wasn't snug like this T30 will be. So I'm gonna take this P30, get all the ones out. Now I want to see if some of them are different lengths. So I'm just gonna go on a different spectrum here. So currently they're the same length, but if you are concerned about getting some of them, they are not the same length. What you can do, what I would do, is take a piece of paper like a cloth here and just put a little bit on there. You do this at your own risk, and just stick it back in there and it'll hold it in place. So you could take that route, but then again, you know, you don't want to put it in there and, you know, forget about it and the cloth is stuck up in there, so you would want to inspect the hose pretty well. So that's an option, but again, you do it at your own risk. So here's a quick view of the valve body out. That little spring, this did fall out, so make sure I put that back where it belongs. I get it back in there. I'll think of something. Right, so taking a look at it. So I guess it's cool. It's pretty neat. You know, I thought I had probably replace the output input speed sensors, but they're integrated inside of these, which is awesome. So I feel a lot better having a peace of mind that these are getting replaced also. I don't know which one is the speed and input output speed sensor, but they're integrated with it. It's awesome. So it seems like there are a couple bolts left that I have to pull out to get this adapter, this housing off, or the lead frame, whichever you want to call it. I'm just gonna pull it on over, and we'll take these out. These are loose. I did loosen some of these up, and it's gonna be a mess. So this corresponds with this, and there's another one on the bottom there. So it's pretty much self-explanatory. I'll just take everything back out, and you know, I could still use my towel method if I want to put them back in the same spot. But I'll do even better. Clean it off, use a little whiteout, put a little mark on them. And that'll pretty much help all of us out. The bolts marked in white are going to be the ones that are going to have to be removed. What seemingly looks like needs to be removed to access this plate in the back. So let me get an aerial view of that. So we got here, here, here. Of course, this, and I think that should be it. I think and look like this one. And if you still decide to, you can still use the rag method. Hold them in place. I think I'm missing one in the back too. That joker. Right back on its top. So basically we'll just replace everything in reverse order. Some of the and I'm pretty sure, I mean, sometimes if I don't know if you noticed that, but that was metal shavings there. That's metal. And you know, I'm pretty sure it's a possibility metal can get on the head of the sensors here and cause some type of interruptions also, you know. But from what I understand, these were having connection issues. Let's take a look at both of them side by side. So here's the new one. They both look the same. One's on the side here. Nothing sticks out like a sore thumb as far as the difference, but all right. I'm pretty sure, you know, some resistance tests can be done, or something along the lines of that. But you know, who got time for all that? All right, put this around. I could hit it with some brake cleaner, which I should do. So I got it in there. I'm gonna make sure my solenoid's got good contacts, and other than that, I'm gonna remove the ones that are in white. Make sure the cloth is out of it. And I'm gonna tighten down all the ones in white. Had a crack. Make sure I didn't crack my housing or anything. Everything's fine. Still good. Everything's still moving. Nothing's broken. This is a T27, by the way, that I'm using for these. Tighten up the lead plate here. Alright, I left that right there for a reason. Uh-oh. Alright, so I'm going to go back over them and just snug them. I mean, it's not that much. I can't administer that much torque, so sure it is snugged really well. So we're good. I could take some brake cleaner and go back over them, or either a rag, get the white paint off. But either way, in this, the white paint's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to get in the valve body, clog anything up. All right. So I got the 8 bolts that are out, missing for the exception of a couple. I just stuffed a little rag in there so I can still pull it out if I need to, just to mark the spot. I'm going to get everything installed in reverse order. The only thing I really didn't show was the plastic for the connector and the housing, and I just took a pair of needle nose and just pulled it straight out once I disconnected the main harness going to the transmission. And I'm just going to put everything back like normal, slide it back in there. Let's see here. So when you do put this back, let's see if I can get a close-up on that, on the selector. So make sure that go back in its original spot. There is a plastic cube that sits between the valve body and the transmission. Mine's is stuck to the transmission, and it goes down here at the base. So make sure you put that back like it's supposed to. You can look at the video and you'll see it. So if this is stuck in the position, that little cube, little bypass cube, what I'm gonna call it, then all I gotta do is put that little valve back in its original spot. So work it how you want to. I'll fight it my way. Kind of do your thing. So all right, let me get everything back, and I'll just show the process of me trying to refill everything. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh gosh. So this little tube fell off. So that came off of there. I'm gonna try to get that back. It's a little green mark. So I'm gonna try to get that back in its original position. Not sure what it do, but yeah, I want to put that back where I got it. All right, so I got that little tube there that goes in that's its original spot. They're color coded. So I guess the good thing, it fell out, it was color coded, and I was able to get it back. So it just slides right up in that little well there. That little cube that I was referring to, here it is. That's that little valve that fell out. It goes here. And hopefully it'll rest long enough in its little cove there. I'll figure something out to hold it in place. And I'll need both hands, so it'll hold it in place long enough for me to get this valve body up there and get it holding. So I got my gasket. I just sprayed everything with copper spray. You can reuse this gasket, but I'm using copper spray. Just my insurance, cheap insurance. Got the pan cleaned up, magnets clean, and its proper orientation. And I'm gonna get everything installed in reverse order as far as the gasket go, because everything should be buttoned up perfectly fine. Checked over my work. I just gotta have a little confidence in it, even though you can't check the valve body, make sure everything's in there properly or not. You can do a little couple things, but make sure everything's good. You're gonna have to kind of rely on your judgment there. But we're gonna get everything put in reverse order and we'll fill it up. So I got the funnel hooked up here, and that's going down to the fill port. To access the fill port, I remember when I pulled the pan down, you saw this dipstick looking tool sitting on the corner by the filter. So above that, you have this nut. It's 19 millimeter. Back that out like any other thing, and you'll have the dipstick. So this is the metering device you'll use to ensure you have proper fluid. If you didn't take the measures I did, as far as knowing how much if you pull out a gallon or not, and just put it into a separate container. But I'm still going to check it anyway. You'll let it run, reach normal operating temperatures, 180 degrees. Continue to fill it up, replace what was lost in it, then you'll just get it on level surface, or since I got it on jack stands, make sure it's leveled, and you'll make sure that your fluid is by these cross hatches here. So I'm going to keep on doing that until I get fluid, and I'll drop it and take it on a test drive and make sure everything works fine. So I got the mileage reset for trip B. It's 0, and currently I'm going to see if there's any transmission codes in the PCM. Since I disconnected the main harness with the key on. No fault codes. All right, why I'm in the PCM is because the transmission shift parameters and all the information goes into the PCM, the powertrain control module. So it doesn't have its own transmission control module. So that's why I was in there. So I'm gonna take it on test drive and see what happens.